What's going on, YouTube and Welcome to Lords of the Long Box presents the CovrPrice comic book shakers of the week of January. I'm just gonna call it January 14th because I'm a superstitious person. I don't want to say the number, whatever that number of today's date is. So shout out to everybody in the live chat. Welcome to the shakers list, also called the aka the offer list. And today is some rather interesting books in there. I always love this list because some really cool stuff that that makes you see how crazy the market is. But while you guys are congregating, I know we're already late, but we can't break tradition. So why don't you guys just kick back, relax, listen to some music as we get you guys ready for the show. What's good, YouTube and eyes? Welcome to the Lords of Long Box and the CovrPrice Shaker Show. Some of my great panelists here. Gabe loves 90s comics. Say what's good to the people.
What up, everybody? Happy Friday Eve. Thanks for joining in and see what books are shaking this week.
Speaking of shaking, Darkside Jedi, say what's up.
Shake it up. I love this list. You know what? I say it every week, and every week I'm proven right again and again. Let's get to it so then we can go and look at what's on the list for today.
And our man from Amsterdam, a.k.a. Mr. Bolo. Jack, say what's good.
Lords, what's going on? How's everybody rocking tonight?
We are rocking good. This is, you know what, one of the best panels ever on the Lord Show on Tuesday, Nemesis Prime with and Zach with Manimal and JB, and then 90 Loves Comics, Gabe and AK Jack. I'm blessed to have all these guys, Darkside Jedi, one of the most knowledgeable crews on the show that can correct me whenever they want and add their 2 cents in. Because this list always surprises me with the little things that are on here and what collectors are actually paying right now. As always, the show is sponsored by our good friends over at CovrPrice.com, or excuse me, CovrPrice.com. Go sign up for a 2-week free trial, or $6.99 for your price guides, collections, trends, the top 10, the movers, and daily shakers list. After we go over the 10 shakers that we pick, we'll see what's shaking today, boys and girls. And this show is also sponsored by our good friends over at KRSComics.com. This show is sponsored. Use discount code LOTLB to get 15 or 10. I think it's 10% off of any KRS Comics exclusives. This bad boy dropped Wednesday, and I do believe there's still some copies left. This is the Edge of Spider-Verse Mike Mayhew facsimile variant. This still has some cover A's left. Also, gorgeous Natalie Sanders, Detective Comics. Also, this one is almost sold out. I still believe you can get cover A's of this bad boy right here too. So make sure you use discount code LOTLB. And also, you save books off of if your pull box automatically 25% off on if you have a pull list from the KRS pull box. So I was able to find some hot books on there when they were sold out everywhere else. If you ever missed out at your LCS, for those who go. So once again, this show is sponsored by our friends. This comes from our friends at CovrPrice, focusing on new sales or the most interesting sales found on their exclusive daily Shakers list. This list changes several times every day, so make sure you check it out every day to read some of the hottest trending books on the market, and we will go and look and see what's shaking after we go over this fine selection of books that Matt DeVoe from CovrPrice has selected for us. So let's kick it off. What do we got for number one, Gabe?
Number one this week, everybody, we're looking at Amazing Spider-Man number 9, the Gabriel Del Otto connecting 1 in 25 cover. So that's coming out from Marvel 2014. So last week, this Spider-Man Del Otto 1 in 25 sold for a big sale of $630 for a CGC 9.8. It features the second appearance of Spider-Gwen, as well as the first time she's introduced into the core 616 universe. It's been a big book that people have been highlighting for years, but is just now gaining traction. This book's getting leverage from Del Otto's number 10's 1 in 25 shared connecting cover, Heat, from first appearance of Spider-Punk, and also the recent jump in value for Spider-Gwen. It's worth noting that she appears on the cover of the comic exposure variants for this issue. It will be interesting to watch the rest of the covers as they gain prices as well. Hello?
Oh my God, I was on freaking mute. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I love this. I love this cover. And have you ever seen a connecting cover full? Like someone take a picture of it all as one?
I have. I mean, not this particular one, but yeah, I mean, I've done it in the past. But I remember Gabriel Del Otto was the rage when it's kind of like these hot artists come along, like Pietro Mocco or some of these other ones. But back in 2014, Gabriel Del Otto made a splash whenever no pun intended. But what's interesting to me is some like internal artists, they were like they just stopped doing internal covers altogether, or internal art, and just started doing variants. Like if you think about Greg Land, some of the hottest variants ever, right? Have you ever seen his internal art? It is not pleasing to the eye at all whatsoever.
He gets made fun of a lot for the interior work that he does.
Yeah.
Copies himself and things like that.
Yeah. And then talking to some people in the know, they're like, most artists nowadays say like doing internals is a young man's game, right? Because you have deadlines, you have to do panels and everything, but J. Scott Campbell, all these cats, they make good money just doing covers. So why not, man? If I was a kid,
they have their own stores now just for covers.
Yeah,
they all got exclusive deals.
Alex Ross has a Alex Ross store that's all he does.
Oh yeah,
he has a T4 booth at Comic-Con, Alex Ross.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about that too when one of these books that show up on the list. I'm gonna show what's sold out today within minutes. But first on the list is Amazing Spider-Man number 9, the Gabriel Del Otto connecting 1 in 25 variant from 2014. Crazy. All right, what do we got up next, Jack?
All right, next we're going Batman Grendel, the Ashcan number 1 from Silver Moon, limited to 25 copies. This came from DC in 1993. As a competitor to Wizard magazine, Hero Illustrated premiered in July 1993 and included 2 Ashcans, one for Star Trek Deep Space Nine and another for Batman Grendel. We constantly come across those Deep Space Nine Ashcans. Batman Grendel has 3 different Ashcans out there: a typical Red Moon version, a gold edition, which was sold in a sealed and limited edition set, and the ultra rare silver. This rare version was offered via a competition to the first 25 readers to send in their response on who the cover artist was for the Ashcan, which was Matt Wagner. It's also unknown if more were printed for comps and damages. but it's the only concrete number that's out there. This week, a high sale of $1,400 for CGC 9.4 does support its significant rarity.
That is crazy. I mean, the book is so rare that the photo that CovrPrice has on their website is the dude has his. If you look at the picture of the comic, you can see him. You can see the phone. You see it taking a picture of it. I mean, when you can't find a really good copy on the internet, it's a rare book, limited to 25. Think about that for a second, guys. And it's funny that you bring up Heroes. I remember when Heroes came out, right? It was Wizard was kind of dominating the market, and Heroes like, yeah, we'll do it. And then Heroes kind of fizzled out. Nobody ever thought Wizard was also pewter out, but apparently it did too. But that's a shame because one of my favorite things to read on a monthly basis was Wizard magazine.
Wizard's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, like nowadays there's so much internet content that can take up that space, but you know what? I would be one that would buy the magazine. I would read it. I mean, they were literally probably the first magazine to do a hot top 10 list. Like now you think about Ush and all these numerous other shows that do these hot comic lists. And they also had a price guide in the Wizard magazine, right? And they even had color coded things to tell you what was hot and what wasn't. It was amazing. I mean,
they ran the market with those
so
cells
good.
on the back. Yeah, that
actually I have a slab number 1 of Wizard magazine. Actually,
mine's not slabbed. I have a number 1. I probably got like 75 or more Wizards that I got. I still got them. I still flip through them. It's a piece of history from that era, and that top 10 list made people's careers. There was a lot of fights over those top 10 lists from creators.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, so
and what's up with ash cans coming back around? Ash cans is such a 90s kind of thing that people are now starting to look for, because this is
everything
crazy.
is everything is nostalgia based. Yeah, but when you see a 25 print run, dude, that is bonkers. My mind can't even comprehend a 25 print run, and then 1,500 for a 9.4 if you can find one sitting in your LCS in the back dustbin somewhere. But all right, Batman Grendel Ashcan number 1, Silver Moon, limited to 25 from 1993. All right, we're just getting started, boys and girls. What do we got for number 3? I've been looking for this for so long.
Yeah, number 3 tonight is Battle of the Planets. Number 1 from Gold Key Western. 1979 is the year, and this 80s fan favorite series was picked up for development by Joe and Anthony Russo back in 2019. Well, there's been no news recently, and for a while actually. This first appearance had a big jump in price to a new raw high of $189 and a new graded high of $1,480 for a CGC 9.8. This could also simply be pushed higher by the continuing nostalgia effect around 80s and 90s prices these days. Or properties.
Yeah, when they first heard that this was being developed, obviously, Battle of Planets, but there's also the cartoon. I believe it was called just G-Force, right? When it came out when I was a kid. Gotcha Man was Gotcha Man was what it was called in Japan. I don't think when they released the cartoon here in the States, it was just called G-Force, or was it Battle of Planets, one of the two. But what's amazing, I missed out on this one when it started getting hot. So there is an Image version of this, and with the art by Michael Turner, which is absolutely incredible. Some of the Michael Turner covers that he did for this. So if you have FOMO and miss out on this one, look for the Michael Turner ones. So that's what I did, at least. So there you go. So next on the list is Battle of the Planets, number 1 from Gold Key Comics, 1979. Good old Gold Key. Man, this must have been one of the last comics they made in 1979 for Gold Key, right? I don't remember Gold Key being around too much in the 80s, but man, this has got to be one of the last ones. All right. Speaking of which, we talked about this book on the last year's on the year follow-up show, right? I think we talked about this.
We were talking about how we were specking on this way back in the day, and it wasn't
way back in the end. Yeah. What is that book we were talking about?
That book, everybody, welcome back. It's Chew number 1, coming out from Image, June 3rd, June 3rd, 2009. If you're new to collecting, then you may not remember how hot this book was way back in 2009 to 2016. It got very expensive. Of course, this 7-year long series received 2 Eisner Awards, 2 Harvey Awards. It was picked up for development by Showtime in 2011. which was then canceled. It was once again picked up by Heavy Metal in 2014, which was officially canceled in 2017. For fans, speculators, and collectors of Chew, many remember this as the once was hot book. However, with a $69 fair market value raw and an all-time high sale this week of $580 for a CGC 9.8 proves that some books may be down, but definitely not out.
That seems cheap to me, man, for a 9.8. Because, like I said, Chew was it was going to get developed for Showtime, and basically the story is he was like a forensics detective, and he can tell clues by eating their remains, I do believe, so he can see what was going on.
He can see the memories of whatever he eats.
Yeah. So remember, in 2009, this is coming off the heels of The Walking Dead's popularity on AMC, right? So this is right around more. This is when the story I told last week, Gabe, when on our year-end show was I was collecting Morning Glories at the time as well, which was also rumored. And also, what was that other Kirkman book, The Thief of Thieves? Do you guys remember that? I think it was Thief of Thieves. That was another Robert Kirkman book that was also rumored to be optioned as well, and that book was hot for a minute too. But this was right around this time. This was right around the Image books really started popping, and everybody was trying to catch the next Walking Dead. To this very day, people are still trying to catch the next Walking Dead. I mean, you see it with like the Department of Truth. Something's killing the children, even though, the Nice House on the Lake, even though some of them may be DC, but they're small, they're not what I would consider a part of DC Comics continuity. So, that's why I would consider them kind of the next big thing.
I definitely sat in a meeting this week with a publisher who very confidently said that a certain title that they have was the next Walking Dead.
Oh my gosh!
he was just saying that, right? He goes, "Yeah, well, we're gonna do this comics, and it's gonna be a TV show for a good 8-10 years." That's
right. No big deal.
Yeah. All right. So Chew, issue number 1, the first printing. There's like, I believe 4 or 5 printings of this, and most of the cover, 3 of the covers I think are pretty much the same artwork and a just different color font or something along those lines. Maybe we'll look at it later on the cover price. But then there's also some multiple subsequent printings where it's a different cover art altogether. I think I have the second print of this because I had the entire run up to like 15 at one point. I mean, it went on for a good while. I mean, it's a good story too.
60 issues. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah. I had all the issues. It was great.
Yeah. So hopefully Chew is, I'm pretty sure whenever, like, let's say Showtime has the rights to it, I think those rights they lose those rights if they don't actually do anything with them, right? Similar to if you think about, how Marvel got the rights back for some of their characters because they didn't, there wasn't something in development for, I think the time was 7 years, and then they got the rights back to like Ghost Rider and Blade and things of that nature. So I think it's similar, maybe not time-wise, but in Hollywood, just in general, whenever they pick up options for something, and they don't do anything with it, then, maybe they can shop it, especially now. Now would be the first time to shop around your comic because there's so many avenues it can go before. 2009, there was no, Netflix was still shipping you DVDs in 2009. You remember that? Yep. You can get 3 DVDs a week, man. So I got
to log into my Netflix account and move my queue around so I can get that movie faster.
Exactly. You know what I used to do? I used to get my 3 discs. I would burn them and immediately ship them back and then get some. I still have a folder of about 150 movies, right? It was kind of amazing back then. So, but now it's like, I don't even think you can get DVDs anymore. I wonder if they still offer that, but why? When you get to stream it. Anyway, Chew, issue number 1, the first printing from June 2009 for a 9.8, so for a cool 580 boleros. All right, here's a good oldie but goodie, but look twice at what it is.
That's right, yo, Joe. We're talking G.I. Joe 21. This is the 3rd printing from Marvel in 1984, and G.I. Joe was the hottest comic of the 1980s. I swear. A 3rd print of this issue just sold for an all-time high of $1,350 in a CGC graded condition of 9.8. A 3rd print. Now listen. This issue was published in 1983. It was the first appearance of fan favorite and pop culture icon Storm Shadow, the Cobra Ninja, wearing a white gi as opposed to Snake Eyes in his faceless commando black. This was the infamous silent issue. No text, narrative, or dialogue appears throughout this story. This issue features Snake Eyes breaking into the terrorist Cobra headquarters to rescue Scarlet, his teammate and romantic partner. The adventure culminates in the revelation that Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow possess the same hexagram tattoo. All of this with no words or dialogue. Marvel Comics G.I. Joe comic began as a mere licensed toy tie-in built with veteran Marvel writer Larry Hama of Masters of Kung Fu, Iron Fist, Wolverine, and literally artist Herb Trimpe, of The Incredible Hulk. The book came out to be the hottest comic book of the 1980s. Do you have an 80s era back issue on hand? Check out the ad for American Comics and read how they describe the series next to X-Men and Batman. To put this in perspective, Phoenix's death issue in the X-Men did not have second and third printings. The introduction of Spider-Man's black alien symbiote costume did not have subsequent printings. Marvel's G.I. Joe began with a lower print run, making back issues scarce and in demand once readers noticed the book. Thus, Marvel offered reprints to meet demand. Several G.I. Joe issues received additional printings, and this is probably the most beloved of them all. Now, in 2022, some of those second and third printings are themselves scarce. Combine the rarity with a cherished character's first appearance and a beloved storyline, and you get a book that rightly sold for $1,350 this week.
This one is a tough one to spot too.
It is.
Because you see the Spider-Man logo, it's inverted on the first print. Instead of a black, it's a white head instead of a black head, and the first two printings are almost identical. It's hard to tell them between. And we were talking about it last week's show. On back in the day in the Bronze Age, Copper Age, to even see a second print, you had to look at the in the inside page where it says it gives you all the legal information, and it would say second print or third print along those lines. I mean, if you look this up, it doesn't say anything about it being a second print on it. At least some of the other Marvel books, if you think about in the Bronze or Copper Age, they had like Silver Sable. I'm thinking it's like a silver. It was a silver page for the second print. But this one is a little bit different. If you guys look up G.I. Joe #1, I mean, if you go to a store and, just look out for it. It'd be interesting to see, look on the inside to see, because it doesn't say anything on the outside that it's a second or third print. And the second print even looks more identical. You can tell third print because of the Spider-Man logo in the box is inverted. It's a different head. So maybe I'll show you guys that on Cover Prices when we look at it later. But G.I. Joe issue number 20. Also, I remember as a kid, G.I. Joe #1 was such a hot book that G.I. Joe #2 at one point was worth more than G.I. Joe #1 because it was so under ordered, because everybody used to order a lot of the first issue and people would just buy first issues and not buy second issues. So for a while there, same thing with Spawn. Spawn #2 was a really high valued book as well because the print run wasn't as high as the #1. So for a while there, people were collecting second issues because they always thought they had I think it's still to this day, they have a lower print run than #1s. But G.I. Joe #2 was the first book I remember where I was like, man, this is expensive for second issue. But G.I. Joe issue number 21, the third print. Hopefully we get a Hasbro Cinematic Connected Universe, man. That would be dope. All right, next one on the list. We've seen this one before, but not this particular one.
Yeah, this has definitely been on the list once or twice. Mad #1. This is from EC 1952. This is actually the first Mad magazine, believe it or not. This long ongoing comic magazine was a rite of passage for multiple generations of kids. Its influence on pop culture, celebrities, musicians, comics, and comic creators, everyone from Monty Python's Terry Gilliam, Weird Al, Johnny Carson, Robert Crumb, Michael J. Fox, Roger Ebert, etc., have gone on record about how it influenced them in their own careers. So when we look at all the comics gaining traction today, this deserves far more recognition. This week, a CGC 7.5 sold for $5,500, significantly more than the same grade that sold last year at $3,700. This is also creeping close to an all-time high sale of $9,900 for a CGC 9.0. This book is definitely trending up.
That's crazy. That's really cool to see.
Super crazy. I like it.
It boggles my mind that EC is the one that started Mad Magazine. As you know, I always thought Mad Magazine was its own thing, and EC was known for its horror books, right? And then I remember as a kid, all the movie kind of parodies that they did. Star Wars was my favorite, and who can remember? Who doesn't forget the triple fold out thing where you would like fold it and it would make a picture. Do you remember that in the Mad magazines?
Yeah, the back cover. The back cover, you had to kind of fold it together.
Yeah, you used to be able to fold it, man. Love this.
Yeah, this is
All
cool
right.
because it started out as a comic book, right? And then
Mhm.
to avoid like the censorship and the things that were happening at the time, especially because of EC, they moved it from a comic book size to a magazine size. That took them out of that comic code authority.
Is it part of National Lampoon? I could have swore National Lampoon ended up doing Mad Magazine, or is that something different? I'm trying to think if it was part of National Lampoon or not, because National Lampoon also.
I think that was its own thing.
Was it its own thing? Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
trying to remember. All right, so
Yeah,
Mad.
that was the magazine cover with the dog with the gun pointed at its head.
Yeah, National
That was the
Lampoon
real
magazine
famous
was
one of that one. Yeah.
As a kid, to me, it was almost like reading a Playboy because it would
Read this
it wasn't
magazine or we'll shoot this dog.
Yeah,
Right,
it
we're
wasn't-
talking about some iconic magazines tonight, though. If you're talking about Mad, you're talking about
What about Cracked?
Crazy.
Let's get Cracked. It's due as well.
Wizard.
Yeah. Was it Crazy or Cracked?
Cracked.
It
I think
was
there was a
Cracked.
Crazy, but there might
Yeah,
have been a
Cracked.
Crazy. Maybe Crazy
Yeah.
was a porn, like a porn magazine or something. Who knows?
Yeah. I remember one that was called a trucking magazine too, where it had like a trucking cartoon in it. It was like so funny. Mad issue number 1 from EC Comics from 1952. Man, that is history right there. All right, so this has been somebody said it. This is a tough list, but you know what? Here's a chance for you guys to get on. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. So we got here next for on the Shaker list, The Punisher number 218 Netflix photo cover coming from Marvel Comics in 2017. There are prevailing speculation that the Punisher will be introduced into the MCU via Armor Wars, wearing a suit of the War Machine armor. Seeing that this actually happened in comics, in this particular issue, it was exceptionally escalated in value. Recently, there has been more and more chatter about John Bernthal reclaiming the role, which has now boosted this photo variant of Bernthal in his Netflix Punisher role. It hit a new high of $175 with a new high 9.8 of $600. This is quite the gamble, but all we can do is wait to see how this plays out.
I'm trying to remember when this came out, if it was that hot in 2017, because for a while there, photo variants of characters, really didn't get much play unless you got them signed by the, signed by the actual actor themselves. Like myself, I have like the first photo cover of Han Solo. I think it's on a Han Solo comic from Marvel, or it could from Dark Horse, where it actually is a photo of Han Solo on the cover. So hopefully this is a new trend, because I got some of those, so maybe they'll get hot. You never know. But Punisher 2018, a Netflix photo cover variant from 2017, 9.8 for $600. Jeez. All right. Next up is a book we're going to talk about, and then I'm going to tell you about it. Something else that he did that sold out today. What do we got next on the list?
That's right. Very timely. We're sticking with variants here. We're talking about Star Wars number 58, the John Tyler Christopher, or JTC as he is known, negative space variant, limited to just 1,000 copies that Marvel put out in 2018. And after taking 2021 off for the most part, Star Wars books are once again on fire. Also hot is John Tyler Christopher's negative covers. After he announced his most recent upcoming sale of a negative Boba Fett for War of the Bounty Hunters number 4, the second print, collectors must have gone searching for Star Wars negative and come across this Emperor's negative, which has sold for a new high of $325 for a CGC 9.8.
Yeah, so perfect timing, because that Boba Fett cover, the negative space cover, went out for sale today at 3 p.m. Pacific, and almost immediately sold out. And you could only get it on John Tyler Christopher's website. If you look it up, he did a Boba Fett negative cover. Perfect timing for it right now. For a while there, John Tyler Christopher, besides his negative variants, he also did I want to say a Boba Fett variant. And he got to keep basically sell it on his own, right? He did some other covers for Marvel, and then I believe he debuted it at C2E2. I think he did a Han Solo and as well as a Boba Fett, and he got to choose those two to sell for himself. And now he just sells them for himself. I mean, like the Boba Fett cover, it was only available to his website. You couldn't get him. Maybe now you'll see them all over eBay, but they sold out. I thought I logged in at 3:02 p.m. I'd be able to get some, but they were gone. Boom, just like that, immediately gone. So people are looking for those other negative covers, and I would say look at that Witchblade. I think it's number 68 is one of the John Tyler Christopher's early negative space variants, which I love. It's a Day of the Dead Witchblade negative space cover. It's orange, absolutely gorgeous, but. There's a trend when you see these negative variants, man. John Tyler Christopher kind of, set the market trend for it. All right, so Star Wars number 58, the JTC negative space, only limited to 1,000, boys and girls, from 2018, sold for 325 for 9.8. I'm telling you, once the Mandalorian and Grogu appear, first appearance in the comics, people are going to lose their collecting minds. All right, this issue we don't see on here too often. We do see the other one when I'm talking about Superman versus somebody. What do we got? Superman versus whom?
This one actually upsets me. I had this book a couple years ago and I sold it. I don't know why. Just probably was taking up space. It's a big treasury book. But this is a cool one. This is Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man. This is a Marvel DC crossover from 1976. The book fans' opportunity to see their favorite characters from different universes battle it out or work together or both, oftentimes written and illustrated by some of the best artists and writers of the time. Sadly, we haven't had a DC Marvel crossover since the early 2000s, but that doesn't mean interest has waned. At CovrPrice, they've recorded over 200 sales and just saw an all-time high sale of, get this, $1,200 for a CBCS raw graded 9.6. For the first DC Marvel crossover book, Superman vs. Amazing Spider-Man, published in 1976. Man, that is awesome. This book features collaboration by some of the greats like Neil Adams, John Romita, Jerry Conway, Ross Andrew, and others. It took the best of both worlds, Supes and Spidey, their ladies, Lois Lane and Mary Jane Watson, and their nemesis, Lex Luthor and Doc Ock, and threw them all together in an alternate universe and earth-altering adventure. This Treasury Edition size book makes for a beautiful reading, but it falls into that interesting category of books that are not currently available for slabbing by CGC or CBCS. So the only option for professional grading experience is to send it to CBCS's raw grade. That also means you won't see historical pricing on CovrPrice competitors such as GPA or Go Collect. They only focus on slab sales. So if you're interested in seeing historical price data on this kind of books and these treasury editions, check out CovrPrice and get that free trial and then stay for a McRib.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the longest time, I remember CGC didn't even do magazine style covers, right? But this is like, the huge treasury editions.
I have 2 or 3 of these. I have a really cool, I have a really cool Batman one where it takes all of the Ra's al Ghul storyline from 230. Which one? 232? No. Is that it? No, what's the Ra's al Ghul issue, Batman? I can't remember the issue number, but it takes from that all the way through the storyline of Talia al Ghul and him making love and conceiving my favorite Robin, and it's huge.
Jason Todd?
It's what's that?
Is it Jason Todd?
No. Damian Wayne.
Yeah, Damian Wayne. Yeah.
But it's awesome because it's so big. It's that treasury size. So the art is just, it's cool to read through. It's really.
I think
cool.
only really way to protect these is a top loader.
Probably. No, they actually sell. Yeah. They actually sell bags and boards for them. BCW does.
Look at the cover price on that thing. $2 in 1979. That's probably like $40 today.
Yeah, and
that's a lot like that.
I don't think we're ever going to see a Marvel DC collaboration, right? I mean, if you think about this is early and then and I think it was the 90s when they did the Amalgam, which was they actually took characters and mashed them together
Yeah.
But I remember Image had worked with DC, and then Image had worked with Marvel too. I think Image and Marvel did something called Devil's Reign, I do believe. It was like something to do with Mephisto, and it was like there was one of my favorites is a Wolverine and Witchblade cover that Michael Turner did. So it's just one of those pieces of comic book history that we probably won't ever see again. To be sadly,
I'll counterpoint it and say that I think there's a culture within business right now of collaboration. You see it in like professional wrestling. They call it the forbidden door, where companies are working together. You see it a lot of times in like, traditional corporate settings now. You see it in fashion with like collab drops. I think there is a world where DC and Marvel, because of the size of the cash grab that it would be, do a kind of like an epic mini series again. And if they do, this being kind of the first crossover, this book would go skyrocket. I've had this one on my list as like a book that I think is sneaky spec that you don't hear people talk about.
It would be huge if they ever did. Like if you just take Batman and Wolverine and put them together, right? I mean, if you think about, Superman versus Spider-Man seems to be, but those are like the two iconic characters for each company. Superman, arguably launched DC, even though Batman is probably a more popular character. And of course, Amazing Spider-Man is what really launched Marvel with Amazing Fantasy 15. And so, I have the Treasury edition of the Star Wars ones. They did one for Star Wars, Empire, and I think Return of the Jedi. I have those, which are really cool. Which I mean, I pick them up whenever I get a chance to see them. But this is just a piece of comic book history that want $1,200 for a raw comic too. Can you imagine the size of the slab? you get a Treasury edition slabbed. I mean, you wouldn't even fit it.
They CGC slabs concert posters, like vintage concert posters. Why can't they get a slab for these big books?
Exactly.
Come on, CGC. Come on.
Do they slab the concert posters? They don't just kind of laminate it? They do the original art?
They grade them, yeah.
Yeah, they slab them, but it's in like a real thin kind of almost...
Yeah, like the amount of plastic it would cost them to do it is not. It wouldn't seem cost effective to me because the price of everything has gone up if you haven't noticed, right? So I'm assuming the price of plastic, the cost to slab a comic book has gone up because of the materials cost. Everything has gone up because of
my $5 hot and ready went up, So they are everything's going up.
The dollar store is a $1.25 store now, right?
Pepperoni went up. Cheese went up.
The 99-cent store is now a $1.25 store. Yeah. So Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man Marvel DC collaboration from January 2nd, 1976. Raw dog for $1,200. All right. Last one on the list, but don't go anywhere, boys. We're going to see what's shaking today.
Where's Nemesis Prime when we need them?
Yeah, we need them here. Number 10 with Transformers All Hail Megatron #1. This is the retailer cover from Apocalypse Comics exclusive Casey Coiler variant and from IDW back in 2008. This Casey Coiler cover is obviously an homage to the classic comic book Batman the Killing Joke, published by DC Comics in 1988. This variant cover was a retailer exclusive by Apocalypse Comics with a print run of 1,000 copies. While by today's standards, 1,000 is no longer considered rare. However, 14 years ago, this is one tough book to find. In fact, it's highly considered as a variant grail for Transformers collectors, though it has recently been affordable with a 9.8 at a fair market value of $300. Well, those days are gone. After this week's raw sale of $400 for a near mint copy, we can easily see this hitting $1,000 for a 9.8 in the future.
That is so cool that it's a Transformers book, like homaging the Killing Joke, right? I mean, man, that's
clever.
That is clever. I mean, why? Is that? I'm trying to think who the Transformer is that would be the little camera, like
Reflector. His name's Reflector.
Is that his name? Is there a Transformer like that?
It's three robots that you form together to make the camera.
Yeah, because I always remember like what was that? A Soundwave. He had like a cassette deck that ejected out like crazy stuff like that. All right, boys and girls. So why don't you guys stick around? Let's hear from our sponsor, My Slabs, and then we're gonna see what's shaking today. Are you tired of paying more than 10% or more for selling your slabs, collectibles, NFTs, and trading cards? Check out our friends at My Slabs.
Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
Yeah, go peep it out, boys and girls. A lot of our friends are selling on there. If you're tired of paying for eBay fees, oh man, because now you actually see the eBay fees when you sell it. They take the taxes out right then and there. So it gets a gut punch when you sell something for $1,000 and you only take home like $800. It's brutal, man. But go check out our friends MySlab. Sign up for a seller and just tell them if they ask you where you heard it from, say the Lord sent you. Let's see what's shaking today, boys and girls. As usual, this is the CovrPrice website, and you can see this is the weekly top 10. This is the movers list. As you can see, some of the biggest movers of highest unit sales sold, but we're looking at shakers, boys and girls. So let's see what's shaking today. As we said, the list changes on a daily basis. So always some cool stuff on here. I don't have anything in the top 6. Gosh darn it. But you know what? This Lone Ranger book looks cool. I think we talked about this before. This is the first appearance of Lone Ranger. And it was in some weird like giveaway for like ice cream or some shit like that. So first appearance of Lone Ranger, Raw Comics 1725. Ooh, man. That is nice. Look at that. Lone Ranger even has an ice cream cone in his hand. That is hilarious to me. We always love looking at Golden Age books on here. Let's look at this. Planet Comics number 62 from 1949. Look at that. That is so dope. I just love Golden Age covers. $1,500 for a raw dog. Let's see what that other one was. Look at this crazy book. This is Suspense Comics.
Look at that red cover. I can imagine what that looks like.
Oh man.
Like the actual copy of that book would be amazing with that red cover.
There's so many hot, like the colors in the Golden Age just seem to pop more. Like they use a lot more reds and yellows. If you look at the first few issues, like Action Comics, predominantly gold. Hey, I know there's a subset of collectors that collect robot covers. This would be the one for you, man. Strange Worlds issue number 8. Look at that. That's
just
hardcore.
Choking that poor lady. Wow.
The Metal Murderer sounds like a metal band, man. $1,450 for a raw comic, man. Strange Worlds. And from Avon. There you go. So you can buy makeup and buy comics. As usual, there's some of the usual suspects on here. The Strange, wow, the Young Avengers. The regular cover is now popping up there. For a while, it was this was the affordable one, but now look at it. $1,000 for 9.8, and then you can see the other ones here. We always talk about this one because Ryan's got this one. This is the of course the CGC 9.8, but it's actually a 9.5 that was only available from Wizard World. 2,400 and 9.5 from earlier this last month. Jeez, yeah.
If you have that, make sure to crack it and get a 9.8, guys.
Yeah, sell it to me first before you crack it. Yeah, I just recently picked this one up, the director's cut, and I also had the Scotty Young sketch variant. This one here.
I have the whole run signed by Jim Chung.
Yeah, I have mine signed by Jim Chung too. He's one of my favorite artists that gets down on both covers and internal art. As you can tell, major first appearance in it, 9.8 for 1,400. This book is, if you haven't gotten it already, man, it's the one to get. So it's amazing that the first issue. I would also say
hit hard. I'm waiting for that. That book is gonna explode.
I think Volume 2 also is a good spec as well because it's a different team of Young Avengers in Volume 2 of Young Avengers. Werewolf by Night. I know there's been rumors lately of a Moon Knight teaser trailer, but they always these so-called scoopers, they say a trailer is coming, but they don't tell you when. And so when it drops in like 3 weeks, they go, "We told you so." It's like, okay,
6 months later, told you.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks like some Spider-Man is dominating the list here. We were talking about this book on our end of year show as well, saying this book is really grossly undervalued, being it's the first appearance of Kitty Pryde, Emma Frost, the White Queen, $5.99 for 9.2. Wow. That's newsstand. And back in 1980, newsstand was more dominant.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can't talk about anything without having this book on the list.
Right.
Right? This was
is
all
this is the Omega Red of Star Wars books, where everybody's going after this book with really no sheer proof that this first appearance is going to show up in a
First
show or a movie.
One solid thing is, without spoiling for people who haven't watched Book of Boba Fett, is the character who has showed up in that series, certainly, who's definitely tied to Dr. Alpha.
Yeah, and that's why the reason they're buying it really is because it's tied to a certain Wookiee.
Yeah.
Man, got to be sleeping under a rock if you don't know what Wookiee we're talking about. But I got to say, the last episode of Book of Boba Fett, that is a scary ass Wookiee, man. They made him like monster like. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was pretty badass the way they did it. This is a classic cover. This is actually one of the books that I have to send in to get graded. I bought this on the potential of it being a 9.8, so I don't want to jinx myself, but it's hopefully I can crack a 9.8 because a 9.6 sold for $525. So if you can get a 9.8 in this bad boy, yeah, you're going. So I'm hoping on all the hope. So this is something I wanted to talk about because there's a new series dropped this last Wednesday of what was it called? What was it called? Was this called Scorched or was it called
Scorched? This is Scorched.
Yeah. So this dropped literally on Wednesday, and this 1 in 250 just sold for $5.99. And as with any Todd McFarlane issue, man, there was a multiple variants of it, but there was a couple of cool variants that featured. What's this character's name? Is it? I forgot. I don't know what her name is.
She-Spawn.
Lady Spawn? Is it Lady Spawn?
She-Spawn.
So there's a couple covers that features She-Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn, and some other spawns. I think there was a Capullo variant as well. So I can't wait I bought like 5 of the 6 different covers or 6 of the different first print covers. But this is the 1 in 250. So is this the first appearance of She-Spawn, by the way?
No, she showed up way earlier in the series. Yeah.
Yeah. So look for
the second version of She-Spawn. But the Scorched is essentially the Avengers book of the Spawn universe.
Yeah. That book was, man, my ALCS ordered a bunch of them, but yeah, I expect She-Spawn, look for a first appearance. I think that's going to blow up because, people have been specking on Gunslinger Spawn and all these other spawns. You know what? I would love to see Medieval Spawn. Give me Medieval Spawn again.
Wait a minute. Okay, that ASM 194. I just sold a 9.2 for $675. I sell my books way too cheap.
Yeah, you do. 8.0 for $500, but that's why people love you, Ryan, because you're giving them a good deal. I believe I still have my 9.4 of this, or did I sell? I'm trying to remember. My 9.4 was signed by Kevin Smith, of all things. And people ask, why the hell would you have Kevin Smith? Because at that time, Kevin Smith was writing a Black Cat story for Marvel, if you remember that. Yeah. And so I was like, and Kevin Smith was doing a signing at that shop in Hollywood, and I was like, why not? And I had the book. I was like, sign it for me. I was like, all right. Look at this gnarly cover, dude. Strange Tales number 17. That is gnarly dope, dude.
Elvis.
It takes more than a rat's-filled bullet to kill a Mesquay. I don't even know what that says.
A McKay. MC.
A McKay. Yeah. Strange Tales. Dope. Good to see good old Master Kung Fu on here. I still got my 9.8. The last one I haven't sold yet. I sold all the other ones. Raw 340. Let's see. I want to see what the highest sold at the height of it was $20,000. And I'm going to tell you, because I've been looking at the 9.8, so I was like, should I sell? Should I hold off? Last sale was, $10,500. I bought my 98 for $1,500. So I think I'm still ahead of the game on this one.
Yeah, a little bit.
So.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, but you could tell at the high point of its sale back in August. When did the movie come out? In summer, right? $20,000. But you could tell in between, like now I would wait for the sequel to come out if I were to ever sell it. But this is one of my grails that I'm going to keep, man. But that's dope. Look at this. I love this Captain America cover.
That's a great Steranko cover.
Yeah, Captain America 113, $330 for 9.2. Not bad at all. A little Captain America love on here.
We were talking about this earlier before, but man, like Silver Age books that are in high grade, like over 9s, are like the most beautiful thing you're ever going to see. It's crazy to see those in such high grade.
This is probably one of the most iconic Steve Ditko covers ever, man, which was actually, they kind of did a little slight homage to it in Spider-Man Homecoming. Do you remember the scene where Tom Holland was trying to lift the building up. And there's a great panel in here that, where he's struggling to get the power, the strength to lift this up from it. And it's just one of the best panels in comics ever. Even you talk about comic artists, they talk about this story and how Steve Ditko drew it and really put emphasis on it. Stan Lee later on would add the dialogue to it, but it was all about Steve Ditko's panel to panel art that really told the story on this. That was incredible. Moon Knight is on here. No shocking. You know what surprised me? That we haven't gotten more of Peacemaker books at all.
Oh, speaking of Damian Wayne, there he is right there, 655, Batman 655. On the far left there. Damian Wayne, first appearance.
This one? No. This is
I'll go back and it's the next column up.
Oh, this one right up here, yeah.
230 for a 9.8 seemed very cheap for that book.
That's 2 panels of story. First cameo appearance, 230 and a 9.8 seems rather cheap to me, especially with the leak of, if you've been paying attention, there's a leak that Michael Keaton's version of Batman is going to get a Robin.
Yeah.
So I think we suspect this a long time ago. We actually had this as a scoop on our show. First appearance of Stained Glass Scarlet, 9.6 and a 230, with the Moon Knight series getting closer and closer. All these Moonlight villains that are being spec'd on. Even though we broke it on here, some app stole it from us and said they were coming. But no hard feelings. What is that? What is that? Something is the most sincere form of flattery. Stealing.
Imitation.
Oh, yeah. Well, I always call it stealing. But hey, take a look at my Man Thing here.
Whoa!
Wow.
Look at that giant-sized Man Thing.
This is now in his own magazine, Fear Fraught first issue. Stan Lee wrote that. He loves right. Yeah. Went out of 9 for. Going on that for an 8.0, man, because that that Savage Conan magazine or whatever, Savage Sword of Conan, that's first appearance of Man Thing. Look at what. All right, so where there's smoke, there's fire, boys and girls. That's 2 Man Thing books on the list. That tells me somebody is buying up Man Things and Swamp Things.
Do you think someone bought that Swamp Thing thinking it was Man Thing?
Good question. I just think
that's
they
Swamp Thing #1. That's a nice book right there.
Yeah. But if Man Thing is moving, I think somebody that works within the companies knows something. Look at this. We were just talking about Spawn covers. Look at that. That is dope. This is Capullo with McFarlane doing the inks for it. This actually looks close to the cover for the Korn cover. Have you seen the Korn cover that Capullo did the art on and Powder McFarlane did the inks on? Back in the day, boys and girls. I believe it was Korn, right? That the McFarlane and Capullo did a cover for the album.
Freak on a Leash.
Yeah, and there's this little girl that's kind of on a ledge, kind of like this, but obviously it's missing. I do believe that's Melboja too, right? Is that Melboja?
Yeah, that's Melboja.
Melboja, such a weird name, man. Or the clown, whatever you want to call him. And we'll leave a little Batman just for you, Ryan.
Aww.
I love these corny Golden Age Batman covers. Batman 2 and Robin 2 meet the son of the Joker. Ironically, my son, who is now the new Robin, is overcoming the son of my old enemy, the Joker.
It's just that 5 times fast.
But look at that Robin. He has like red hair. And it says 2 on his chest and even says Batman on his chest. That's so funny. So 175 for 5. Who knows what the story behind this is? Is this a clone or a different version of them?
Yeah,
it's Golden Age. None of it makes sense.
Yeah, it's an old Batman corny ass story.
I mean, if you have Robin fish or Joker fish, then anything is. I remember people were getting that for a while. Well, that's it, boys and girls. I saw a lot of 0 for 10s. Congratulations for those who made 2 for 10s. That was a really difficult list, and difficult list calls for great people, and great people killed it. Thanks for joining the show, Gabe. Any last words?
Thanks for showing up, everybody. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend. See you guys next time.
That's right. Jack, a.k.a. Mr. Bolo, any last words? You're on mute, brother. You're still on mute.
Thank you, everybody.
There you go.
Appreciate the patience. Appreciate everybody, man. The market is moving up. It's going to be a big 2022.
Yes,
it is. There's Darkside Jedi. Any last words?
Hey, as always, thank you for joining us. We wouldn't have a show without you. Join us. Are you doing a show Sunday?
I think so. If not, then I am gonna totally relax. But you want to join? You want to be on the letter show? We're gonna do a letter show.
We'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna. I will see.
All right.
I can't
Well,
see that far in the future, man.
Just in case there isn't a letter show, I will tell you that I was told this, and if you follow my social medias, that that there is a Secret Wars being planned with the possible production or release date of 2025, and I was told by this source that it's going to be based closer to the original Secret Wars storyline, and it's a way for them to introduce the symbiote into the MCU, because the Hickman run would be really hard to develop on the big screen because it's just so wild, right? 2015, and I got two independent sources, meaning both two different people, told my source the same thing, and this isn't through Mikey Sutton. This is somebody else that I really can't divulge who it is. That there's been a project in the can called Galactus and His Heralds. Now, that I don't know if that's a working title or if that's the actual title, but it's called Galactus and His Heralds. It could be either a Galactus origin story or it could be a Silver Surfer movie. You know, a lot of times Hollywood puts working titles, things that throw people off the scent, but you know, Galactus and His Heralds is pretty straightforward on what the hell it is. But that's what I was told, and you know, they have a proven track record. So I would say, don't just focus on Silver Surfer. There's a ton of heralds in Galactus's history. So, you know, Frankie Ray,
Airwalker, Terrax.
Terrax is my favorite.
Yeah.
The most evil villain with male pattern balding ever, man. All right. Well, I thank you guys all for joining us for the Lords of Longbox. We might be back on Sunday. If not, we will see you Tuesday for the CovrPrice Top 10. Until then, for Darkside Jedi, Gabe, and Jack, keep digging in them long boxes, and peace out, boys and girls.
Now let's do this. Rewind, select, and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump, 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 jump. Here come the Lords, 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 here come the Lords.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is update. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here! We're back! Word up! Get super job! You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even notice.
Oh, how so?
I'll be too busy looking good.
You can't